Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, kiddos, today we'll be starting with dynamics. Dynamics, personally, is my favorite topic in all of O level IGCSE physics. For some reason, I really love teaching this topic. And dynamics is basically your momentum. We'll be studying about momentum, okay, throughout this chapter. Momentum, its type, changes momentum, impulse, XYZ, and all the law of conservation of momentum, and all of those long, long formulas, okay? So we'll be covering everything throughout this chapter. It's gonna take around just two classes to cover the basics and the topics, and then we'll spend around one or two classes practicing past paper questions. So starting with dynamics and momentum. Guys, what is momentum? Momentum, the basic definition that you write in your examination as well. One thing that really confuses students is, okay, what do we write when they ask about something? So remember, whenever they ask about anything in physics, let's suppose if they ask about pressure, what is pressure? It is force per unit area. You just describe the formula. Or what is velocity? So velocity is rate of change of displacement. If anything is being divided by time, you always write rate, okay? So what is momentum? Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. It's written as P is equal to mv, where P is your momentum. The units of momentum, you have to remember them: kg ms minus 1, sorry, kg meters per second. You can also write this as m minus 1, but that is what you learn in AS, so we'll just leave it that for now. M is kg, which is your mass, and V is meters per second, which is your velocity. Now remember, it's velocity, not speed. There's just a subtle difference in between these two. You should know that. Note this down. And also note that throughout this chapter, we'll take right. If an object is traveling towards the right, we'll take that velocity as positive velocity, okay? So towards the right, your teacher might have taught you towards the left, it's positive, towards the right, it's negative. That does not matter, okay? This isn't something that is, हम लोग कहते हैं ना कि उर्दू में पत्थर पे लिखी हुई चीज़ नहीं है, पत्थर पे लकीर वाली चीज़ नहीं है. A teacher can follow whatever they find fit. So towards the right, it's positive, and towards the left, it's going to be negative. So any velocity towards the right, if it's 5, so it's actually positive 5 meters per second, or it's going to be positive 6 meters per second, or positive 0.5 meters per second. And towards the left, any velocity, any speed, let's suppose 5, 6, and again 0.5, they all will have a negative sign. So negative, 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 meters per second, meters per second. So now if I write minus 5 meters per second, there's three things in this. There's a negative sign. This represents your direction. Always remember that the negative sign represents your direction. This 5 is your magnitude. It represents the value, the volume of something, the amount of something. And what is this called? Meters per second. What do we call this? What do we call this meters per second? This is the unit. This is the unit. Pretty simple. Is this clear up until now? Is this part clear? Sheen, Maida. Now, if an object is moving towards the right with a speed of 5 meters per second, and they ask you to find the momentum, what's going to be the answer? 2 kilogram is its mass. So 2 into positive 5. Now I know kg meters per second. This is going to be the momentum. We just multiply the mass and velocity. I'm lagging. Am I lagging for all of you? Okay. So it's going to be positive 10 kg meters per second. Now, why do I write this positive sign over here? Even if I do not write it, it does not really matter because 10 or positive 10, they both represent the same thing, right? दोनों होते तो एक ही हैं. But I always encourage my students to write this positive sign. This basically, you establish the habit of adding signs. Because a lot of times during examination, due to examination pressure, students forget to write positive or negative. They actually forget that, and it causes them to lose marks. So it's very important that you always add this positive or this negative sign. Now, another question: if an object of 2 kg is traveling towards the right with the same speed, 5 meters per second, what's going to be its momentum? 2 into positive or negative 5? Omar, wrong. Negative 5. Always remember, they never add the positive or negative signs. They never add this. We do this, okay? We do this on our own just to differentiate between the directions. Because if we assume that both of these are traveling with positive 5 velocity, then there is no difference. Then this is not a vector quantity. Remember this velocity over here, you have to include the direction. So it's going to be 2 into negative 5. That is minus 10 kg meters per second. The only difference over here is this negative sign. Is this clear? Perfecto. Now, next, change in momentum. Now, change in momentum is known as impulse. इसका एक दूसरा नाम भी रखा गया है impulse, and they usually ask you to find the impulse. When you're doing your past paper questions, you will realize mostly they ask you to find impulse and not the change in momentum. Now, change in momentum is equal to mv minus mu. This is change in momentum. Always remember the unit for any variable or any change in variable is the same. So momentum and change in momentum will have the same unit, kg meters per second. Then we have m represents mass, unit is kg. Then we have v. What is v? जल्दी से बताएं. What is v? Which velocity? I know it's velocity. V and u both are velocities. But which? We just studied this in no. V is your final velocity. V represents your final velocity, meters per second. U represents your initial velocity. This is something very basic. Why are you guys messing this up? Yep, you can either call it terminal velocity or final velocity. And how do we distinguish these? Basically, if you look at the alphabetical order in a chronological order, so U comes first and V comes after U. So this represents initial and this represents final. Is this clear now? So change in momentum, which is impulse, is basically mv minus mu, where delta p is basically change in momentum, m is your mass, v is your final velocity, u is your initial velocity. Now, moving ahead, we'll just do some examples and this topic is going to be clear. I have a 2 kg object that's traveling towards the right with a speed of 4 meters per second. It then starts to move at a speed of 8 meters per second, or let's just go with 7. It starts moving with a speed of 7 meters per second. The question is find impulse. Now, the first thing that you should do over here is add sign. So both of these are going towards right, so we can just assume that both of these have a positive sign. Now the change in momentum is going to be mv minus mu. M is going to be 2. What is going to be v? What is the mathematical value? Should I add 4 over here? Should I write 4 or should I write 7? Should I write 4 or should I write 7? I'm going to write 7, guys. Final velocity. No, final velocity. This is the initial and this is the final. I just initial minus 2 into 4. I believe the answer is going to be 14 minus 8, which is positive 6 kg meters per second. Is this question clear, Mahira? Then try this one. I have an object, 5 kilograms, traveling at a speed of 10 meters per second. Its speed decreases to 5 meters per second. We can just go with 4 meters per second. Its speed decreases to 4 meters per second. Find the change in momentum. What is the change in momentum? And all those students that also watch these recordings, whenever I say that do something, you should do that. You should not skip that part. To really understand physics, to really grasp all these concepts, you need to make sure that you always practice. Without practice, you can never ace physics. Never ever. You might be able to ace chemistry without a lot of practice, but never physics. Minus 30. Good job. So change in momentum is equal to mv minus mu. M is going to be 5. V is going to be positive 4 minus 5 into negative 10. Minus 5 into positive 10. So it's going to be 20, positive 20 minus 50. So the answer is going to be minus 30 kg meters per second. ठीक है ठीक है Is this clear? Kg meters per second. Easy peasy, right? Now we'll take some examples in which the direction changes. Because a lot of times students really mess up these questions where they're changing the direction. So I have an object, again 5 kilograms, traveling at a speed of 8 meters per second. It changes its direction and now it's traveling at a speed of 4 meters per second. However, it is traveling in the opposite direction. How do I solve this? mv minus mu. I'm going to take this as positive. I'm going to take this as negative. So I'm going to substitute the value 5 into v. V is going to be minus 4. This value. Minus 5 into positive 8. So minus 20 minus 40. Minus 60 kg meters per second. This is the answer. So what the skill that you should have over here, the thing that you need to remember is you always have to give these values a sign. That is very important. That is like the fundamental thing that you have to do. If you do not do that, you mess up your question and you do not get an answer. Okay? Clear? समझ आ गई समझ आ गई Now to attempt this question. Again, an object is traveling towards the left with a speed of 5 meters per second. Its mass is 3 kilograms. It is now traveling towards the right with a speed of 8 meters per second. What is the change in momentum or what is the impulse? They're going to ask you what is the impulse generated, or calculate the impulse produced, generated, used, XYZ, whatever they want to ask. They can rephrase the question however they like. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. What is gonna be the answer? 25. I think that's gonna be wrong. So change in momentum is equal to mv minus mu. We're gonna assign a negative value here and a positive value here. So when we're doing, I believe 39 is the answer. So m is gonna be 3. Final velocity is gonna be positive 8 minus again 3 into negative 5. So that's gonna be 24 plus 15, which is 39 kg meters per second. Good job. किसने आंसर दिया था? My hero. Note this down.